Hey y'all, it's Kate from the Literary Apothecary, and welcome back to another episode of Bibliotherapy Sunday. So first, before I get into today's video, I just wanted to wish all of the dads out there a happy Father's Day. If you're a dad, if you're a stepdad, if you're a pet dad, happy Father's Day. Today, since it's Father's Day, we're going to talk about some of the best dads in fiction. And I will preface this with saying I just stick to books that I have read, but I know that there are plenty of other amazing dads out there in literature that I haven't met yet. So comment below what your favorite dads are in literature, and I can't wait to meet them all. So first up, let's just go with the ultimate dad, and that is Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Atticus Finch is the ultimate dad, the ultimate role model for anyone. He teaches you to see a person for who they are, no matter what color skin they are, no matter what gender they are. He says you can't truly know a person until you've walked in their skin and experienced their experiences. And
the world never seems as fresh and wonderful, as comforting and terrifying, as good and evil, as it does when seen through the eyes of a child. For a writer to capture that feeling is remarkable, and perhaps that is why one book in the last few years has been so warmly embraced by tens of millions of people.
Reading To Kill a Mockingbird and learning all of Atticus's lessons that he teaches was life-changing for me. I started reading this in school like a lot of others, and I continuously go back to Kill a Mockingbird because it's so transformative. So Atticus Finch for me is like the ultimate dad, and I just had to start off with him because he's number one. Next two dads come from the same series, and hear me out. Outlander. So our first dad that I'm going to talk about is Brian Fraser, and this is Jamie's dad, and we don't actually see him in the books, but we hear a lot about him and his values and his honor and his teachings we see carried through in Jamie. And Jamie tells Claire and later on in series other characters what his dad taught him. He said his dad loved him, but also was willing to, give him the hard discipline when, in Jamie's words, he was being an idiot and he needed it, and he learned so many life lessons from his dad. So Brian Fraser, I feel like, should go on this list, maybe as an honorable mention, but also on that same note, we have Jamie Fraser. So spoilers for later Outlander books, you can skip ahead to the next dad. I have the timestamps down below. But Jamie is, in later books, a dad twice over. He has Brianna.
You're Jamie Fraser, aren't you?
I am. Who asks? Your message for me, lass?
My name is Brianna. I'm your daughter.
Don't know you, lass. Don't know you, Liana. Don't be terrible.
And then he has William, and
what's he like? Your son?
Spoiled, stubborn, ill-mannered, loud, with a wicked temper, and braw, tawny, canty, and strong.
And yours?
Mine.
And we see different relationships with both of these kids, but we see Jamie is just an excellent father. All he wants to do is be that great dad and be there for his kids. Even when he can't be there, he's still there in spirit, and he still wants the best for his kids. So Jamie Fraser, also a fantastic dad in fiction. Next up, we have Hans Huberman from The Book Thief, and
I'm not such a good reader myself, you know. We will have to help each other out.
I included Hans on this list because he teaches Liesel how to read, and he changes his kid's life by allowing them to be able to read and escape the horrors of the Nazis.
Words are life, Liesel. All those pages, they're for you to fill.
And this book is an amazing book. I love this book so much, but any parent that teaches their kid how to read and to be able to escape through books is automatically on my list of a best parent for me. So Hans Huberman also. Next up we have Bob Cratchit from A Christmas Carol. Now, this is a little different, but Bob Cratchit went through everything for his family. He worked for Scrooge and put up with all of Scrooge's grumpiness and horribleness just to be able to provide for his family and to be able to provide a good Christmas for his family. He did.
Speaking of work, Mr. Scrooge, tomorrow is Christmas, and I was wondering if I could have half a day off.
Christmas, eh? I suppose so. But I'll dock you half a day's pay.
Everything for Tiny Tim and his wife, and I feel like Bob Cratchit deserves a good place on this list. Next up we have The Father from the Road by Cormac McCarthy, and we don't really have a character name for him other than Father or the man on this, but this is a post-apocalyptic story, and this dad literally goes to the end of the earth, the end of the world for his son, and to see this father-son relationship in this book is just life-changing, really. This book is probably my favorite Cormac McCarthy book, and it is so good. I highly recommend The Road. So The Father in the Road, obviously, because he just goes to the end of the world for his son. Next up we have Mr. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, and although Mr. Bennet has a lot of flaws, he has to put up with Mrs. Bennet, who is completely insufferable, and he just has never-ending love for his daughters and will go to the end of the earth for his daughters, and he just wants the best for the Bennet sisters. And so I feel like Mr. Bennet should definitely belong in here. He's also taught them values that were ahead of their time. He wants his daughters to have the best no matter what that means, and that's different than a lot of fathers we see during that Jane Austen's time. Next up we have Matthew Culpert from Anne of Green Gables, and I absolutely love Matthew, the character of Matthew, and his relationship with Anne of Green Gables. He becomes Anne's best friend and also an adopted father figure to Anne, and I just love seeing this friendship and relationship develop between these two characters. It's heartwarming, it's heartbreaking, and it's just absolutely fantastic, the best. I can't get over their relationship. It's one of my favorite father-daughter relationships I've read in all of books, all of literature. Next up we have Arthur Weasley from the Harry Potter series. Everyone knows Mr. Weasley is awesome. He's a great character, but he's a great dad too. A lot of the focus goes on to Mrs. Weasley, who is a fantastic mom, and she was on my 10 best moms in fiction list, and I will link that in the description below. But I feel like Mr. Weasley also needs his due because he puts up a lot between Fred and George and Ron and Percy and all of the kids that they have, and he takes on Harry, even though he knows it maybe is not the best idea. He just gives his family all of the love he has, and he works the long hours at the Ministry of Magic just to be able to be there for his kids, and he goes beyond expectations for Harry, who's not even his blood kin. So I feel like Mr. Weasley definitely needs a spot on this list because he's just a fantastic dad, and his character is one that always makes me laugh. So Mr. Weasley from the Harry Potter series. And then the last dad I have on this list is Charles Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, and also known as Pa. We get Pa he's called Pa by his kids in the Little House on the Prairie, and this is another one of those dads that is not perfect by any means, and we see his imperfections in the books and the show that I grew up on, and he has anger issues and he has control issues, and we see him work through that to be able to provide for the best way that he can for his kids and his family. And being out on the prairie at the time that they were there, he goes out and he hunts for his family's food, and he struggles with all of his imperfections, but in the end he comes out of them better, and he just gives all of his love to his family. And I just love Pa. He's such a fantastic dad. So those were the top 10 best dads that I've read in fiction. I'm sure I've missed some, and there's tons of other dads that I haven't met yet in fiction. So comment below who your favorite dads are in fiction. If you're a dad, again, happy Father's Day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. As always, my Patreon and Discord information will be in the description below. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back.